So you find yourself in that situation where you meet a stunning girl. After a couple of dates, things are going well and the two of you are hitting things off. However, there is no spark and things don't seem to want to move any further. It is here where one person will need to make a move, and many don't know when this is. By watching today's video, you will know exactly when she wants you to make the move. We will be exploring every subtle sign that most women tend to show whenever they are attracted. And yes, you will need to have at least some initial attraction if you're going to get the best results from your specific encounter with her. Keep in mind that some of these signs are actually universal, and by itself, each one might not be enough evidence that she wants you to make the move. However, when you notice more of them stacking up, it's often one of the clearest signs that something's up, and you should go in for the kiss. Number 1. She devotes attention to you. The number one thing women generally do whenever they feel attraction towards someone is devote more of their attention to this person. You see, in the modern era, social media has made it accessible for women to meet almost any man. This means they don't need to give anyone any attention, and they can simply wait for men to come to them. Since this phenomenon is something that's been happening for the last few years, more and more women have pulled back, and now they allow men to battle for them, much like the ancient gladiators of old. So, whenever you manage to get the attention of a woman and she's not pushing you away, you can be sure that there is some form of attraction between the two of you. The best course of action is to keep the status quo and continue building on this. Ideally, you want to finally have almost all of her attention occupied in the form of habits. Whenever you hold all the power of a woman's attention, you have basically won. And this will ensure you don't have to fret about having too much competition from the outside. Number 2. She hints at free time. The next one is often missed by many men. You see, women rarely tell you if they have free time. The main reason for this is that whenever many weak men sniff an inkling of free time from women, they completely dive into this and think that she is now attracted and wants to do something. Once the guy makes a proposition for a date and she declines, he will become mean due to her having free time and rejecting him. It is for this reason that most women try to completely occupy their own schedules and ensure that not a moment is wasted, or at least no one knows when they have available time. So, since women do not allow men to know when they have free time, a woman who does hint at this might be interested in doing something or having you occupy the time. Your goal should be to come up with something fun and exciting that the two of you should consider doing. However, if she does reject your advances, you should not be persistent and understand that even though she's mentioned free time, she doesn't have any interest. The upside to this is that whenever she tells you she has free time, the probability of her saying yes is something that should play into your hand and allow you to do something together. Number 3. The way she dresses. One of the big issues when it comes to women is the way they dress. You see, most women will try to look their very best whenever they go on a date and like the guy. However, if she's just using you as a means to an end, she will arrive in whatever she feels comfortable wearing just to get it over and have some fun. Whenever a woman truly likes and desires a guy, the level of effort she's willing to put into her appearance is often something very few people can truly comprehend. It is for this specific reason that you can use this as a way of seeing how much she actually likes you and is willing to invest in the relationship. Now, bear in mind that a fancy event demands more effort when it comes to dressing up, and this cannot actually be gauged as a way of seeing how interested she is. You will want to take her out to something casual and see if she's willing to put in some effort. You see, if she truly likes you and wants you to make that critical move, she will wear something that makes her seem attractive, regardless of comfort. A woman who pitches up in a tracksuit doesn't truly care what you think of her, and she'll even just tell you that you'll need to accept her for who she is around you. Number 4. Positive demeanor. If we look at some of the psychology of the female mind, one of the important things to take careful note of is actually her demeanor when you're talking to her. You see, some women can be friendly with most people, but women, for the most part, refrain from being too friendly or polite with random men. The reason for this is very simple, and it's often due to the fact that men misread these signs. Whenever a woman seems too friendly, men are not willing to allow the situation to play out or run its course. You see, every man driven by his hormones would take this as a sign that she is sexually interested in them. Since this happens often, women have taught themselves to stand down and not invest too much in the men around them. In fact, they will treat many men with a neutral demeanor, refraining from showing any true emotions or even weaknesses. So whenever she opens up to you or always seems to be very polite, it is a positive sign. Some friendliness heavily depends on overall mood. This one is tricky to decipher by itself, and it is recommended that you consider looking at some of the other main principles that could help you to aid in deciphering exactly what could actually be going on in this situation. We would recommend that you look for more than simply just one sign. Number 5. Fiddling with jewelry and clothing. You have probably noticed that whenever you feel a little anxious, you might be fiddling with some of your clothing or even the jewelry if you so happen to wear any. This is not only something women do, but is a sign of anxiety regardless of who the person is. Whenever you notice her constantly fiddling with her jewelry or trying to make sure that everything remains perfect, she is comforting herself, whilst making sure that she continues to look as good as she possibly can. In fact, this sign is often so subtle that only the most observant of men realize or notice what is happening. One sneaky little trick you can use when you notice this is to calm her down with either a joke or just to reassure her that she's looking absolutely gorgeous. This should not only elicit some kind of a smile and, in many cases, a rebuttal, but it will also calm her down, and she might continue giving you more and more hints. The next one is the one that often follows this fiddling with jewelry, especially when she's now consciously aware she's doing it. Number 6. Playing with her hair. When a woman is playing with her hair, it is often accepted as a universal sign of pure attraction. Much like the jewelry situation, it is another comforting and soothing form of behavior, which helps to alleviate some of the stress. This could be in various forms, like constantly adjusting her hair or even just twirling it around in her finger. Like many of the other signs, it will be accompanied by facial expressions that often show submission and might even hint at the fact that she's expecting things to ramp up a little. Once again, a solid compliment is something that could draw her in even more, and whilst it might not make her stop playing with her hair, you are slowly moving in the right direction to ensure that everything is going in the right direction. Number 7. Laughing at your jokes. Women and men are all likely to laugh at something funny, but in some cases, someone might laugh a little too much at a joke that's not even considered funny. You see, whenever a woman finds you attractive, she'll try to do almost everything she can to make you feel like she's interested. This means that whenever you make a joke, she's more than likely to be laughing, as it's a way of showing her interest in you. In fact, you can even experiment with this by purposely making some of these bad jokes to see if she does have enough interest to actually continue laughing at them. You'll also notice that whenever someone else is making jokes, she will subtly glance at you to see what your reaction is. This often happens inadvertently, as we try to follow the lead of the person we respect the most. You will rarely see her laughing at jokes that you don't respond to, and if she does, it could possibly mean that she's finding the other guy attractive as well. Once again, the best course of action is to wait it out and see where things are actually heading. Number 8. The establishment of touch. One thing that often clearly signals whether or not someone likes you is if you can get close to them and touch them. You see, breaking the touch barrier is not as easy as you might think, and many people refrain from this. In the case of women, women often pull back and they have clear boundaries around them. Since they know how men are and what men want, women only allow those they truly like to actually get close to them and touch them. However, if she likes you, she'll not only allow you to get close to her, but she's more than likely to make the moves herself. Now, keep in mind that this might not be direct, and in many cases, they choose the subtle route, which allows them to have some plausible deniability. Ideally, you want to actually go with the flow and allow her to subtly touch you, and whenever she does, you would like to reciprocate the gesture and try to establish touch from your side as well. You see, if she allows you to touch her or constantly wants to be within a couple feet of your presence, she clearly trusts you, and there is definitely a whole heap of attraction. Number 9. Response times. One of the big problems nowadays is that everyone is so busy and preoccupied with everything they need to do. Life has become busy, and no one truly cares for text messages too much. This leads to many conversations ending at a dead end where two people simply just stop communicating with one another. One way to gauge her interest levels is to notice her response times. You see, whenever a woman likes you, her response times are sure to increase significantly, which means that she'll constantly be looking for and hoping for your messages. In this case, you can actually play around with your response times to see how often she will respond as well. This will be a clear indicator of attraction. Number 10. Being as close to you as possible. We've already touched on this subject, but people don't understand precisely how important it is that a woman wants to be close to you when they are in a social setting. You see, women often remain close to their friends, and they often want to keep a decent boundary between them and someone else. However, when she likes you, she's already overcome the trust barrier, and she will not only focus on keeping the distance between you short, but also do things like sitting on your lap or squeezing into locations that happen to be close to you. Ideally, men who notice this might completely break the touch barrier and make it seem as if they are already comfortable touching the woman. Either she will pull away or move somewhere else, but instead of focusing on the what-ifs, this is the perfect opportunity to make the actual move, which could push the relationship into a new direction. Number 11. Flirting. Perhaps this one is a little more overt rather than subtle, but flirting can take many different forms, and it often starts as subtle compliments. You see, it's often the responsibility of the man to initiate the flirting since women don't like making the first move. However, she might notice that you seem to take your time, and this could be very frustrating to some women. What you'll notice is that she will overtly continue flirting with you, ensuring that you clearly get the message of her being attracted to you or not. Flirting is one of the best ways to figure out exactly how the attraction game works and what you could do in order to get her obsessed. In fact, flirting should allow you and her to slightly test each other, and when this is done correctly, it could lead to a spark caused by some of the tension arising between the two. Number 12. Pointing feet. Whilst this one was heavily debated by many experts, it's worth mentioning in this video. One of the most important things that people generally miss in social situations is the art of body language. You see, our bodies are things that are controlled by the brain. And whilst we can consciously control many things, there are a couple of things that the body just does, and you don't have any conscious control over it. What you are looking for is how open her body language is. You want to feel that she's actually inviting you in to be close to her and to give you the ideal signals that should ensure that you can make an actual move that she will accept. One of the most debated forms of body language is understanding what it means when a woman's feet are pointing in a specific direction. You see, whenever someone is fully engaged with you, they will mostly have their feet and the rest of their body fully pointed towards you. However, this one is kind of tricky as there are numerous variables that could actually affect this. This could be the way they're seated, for example. However, the way the head or face is pointed can be even more important. You see, we naturally point ourselves in the direction of those we give our full attention to. This means that you can see exactly where a woman's attention is depending on the direction she's facing. Number 13. She hints at a move. One of the most direct ways in which someone can show or even tell you that they like you is by being direct with it. Now, women rarely choose this route and would hint at things that could signify that she is somewhat attracted to you. This is generally when many of these signs start to stack up and she becomes more eager to make a move. She will tell you what she wants and likes, and this is not only to give you information about what's going on in her mind, but actually the things she desires. Once again, this will vary depending on the woman, as each woman has a different desire when it comes to courting them. Since most women are passive-aggressive, it can be very frustrating to deal with. In fact, many relationships often die before they even start due to the fact that two people are not willing to be a little more direct. As a man, your goal should be to focus on some of these signs and to make the actual move. But how do you make the move is the next question. Ideally, you want to check out this video to see how experienced men make the move that seals the deal and gets the girl.